Walking out of the Steelers' final OTA session of the week yesterday on the south side, I stopped a certain someone near the cafeteria and had just mentioned in passing that I really, really appreciated the spirit that's exuding from this group right now. It's not common. I've been doing this a long time. It's not the norm. And this individual smiled the broadest smile. Kind of like a lot of the guys that I had just gotten done talking to. Good morning to you. Good Friday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Steelers. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into hockey and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Penguins and Pirates that I hope you'll also check out. I cover those two teams year-round as well. The people who will populate this offense are ready to knock opponents on their rear ends. You can say what you want about that statement. You can call it a cliche. You can call it something we hear every year this time. And you can do that. I've been covering this team for a long time. I've not sensed a group getting this stoked over one specific facet the way these guys are. They are prepared fully, physically and mentally, to play what James Harrison used to refer to as beat the man in front of you football. And not only are they confident in their abilities to do it, they're what's the word I'm looking for here? They sound exasperated that they hadn't been able to do it. It's like a get out of jail free thing. I can offer you similar scenarios that I've covered over the years, none of them associated with the Steelers, where a group of players felt they were so hamstrung by the people over their heads and now have this opportunity in front of them to just go be their best selves. And they're happy. They're smiling. They're shouting across the room to each other in playful ways. They're making sure that nobody, not even the rookies, escape their wrath when it comes to, pranks or poking fun at them. And it doesn't matter if you're Russell Wilson with his experience and reputation and achievements, or you're Rodney Williams, the third string, fourth string tight end that I spent a lot of time with yesterday. I asked him why the tight ends in particular seem to be having a really, really good time.
I mean, everybody in the room gets along. It's genuine relationships. And Coach Fredo makes it easy for us to, come out, have fun. Good energy in the room at all times. Even when we don't play the best, it's not a cursing you out, yelling at you type thing. It's more of an instructing, teaching thing. So it's just, it's good vibes all the time.
Good for him. Fun dude. He's one of those guys you'd really love to see break through and have more people aware of what a quality character this guy is. But that's a lot of what I'm seeing, hearing, feeling. There's competition. There's awareness of competition, but it's happening with a smile. You don't see anybody who's sour or sullen, or if they are, and being honest with you here, Troy Fautanu was kind of that way. He was disappointed with his work after week one, put together some better practices in his own mind this week, and now there he was yesterday, yucking it up just like everybody else. There's Carl Dunbar, the defensive line coach, who would get a rise out of anybody by saying pretty much anything. But in this case, after the practice was done, they brought out this weird piece of equipment I'd never seen before that was shaped like this elevated disc that a player would go down on with his stomach on the thing, and you were supposed to reach down forward, like using all of your torso strength, and try to get as close to the ground as you could without having to catch yourself. Anyway, whatever the point was to this, he was barking out, Coach Dunbar was, who wants this? Who wants this? Well, Keanu Benton comes sprinting. Not trotting, sprinting toward the thing because he wanted to be first and show everybody that he could do it. And he did it. Then Montravius Adams goes after that because Mon Adams isn't going to get shown up by anybody when it comes to conditioning. And Broderick Jones, who's sitting there on the bench to my left near this whole thing, he says, listen, come on. What are you guys doing? This is strange. And then he goes and does it, and he kills it too. And everybody's it's just a good atmosphere. Look, I'm not taking this too far. I'm not suggesting it's going to mean anything toward a single snap of the 2024 NFL season. But you got to start somewhere, and you might as well start it in May. But especially when it's rooted in a football concept that everyone can get behind enthusiastically and genuinely. I brought this up with Connor Hayward, and he said that's actually the main thrust here, is that they don't have to sell us. The coaches don't have to sell us. Arthur Smith doesn't have to sell us on being a physical offense. We want to be that. We strive to be that. We're eager for it. Dan Moore told me a lot of the same stuff, only he threw into it his own individual preference. He's not been, and he knows this, an effective enough pass blocker at this level. Now, he also knows that the reason that he got drafted was because he was really, really good at run blocking. Kevin Dotson also was really good at run blocking, still is, but elsewhere. Why? Didn't fit with this offense. The previous coordinator wanted everybody going left and right and left and right, and all these guys wanted to do was to go forward. Well, now you've got that. You've got the pedigree on the line. You've got multiple tight ends, and I should throw in there that Darnell Washington caught 2 touchdowns in 7 shots drills, confirmed to me by both Hayward and Washington. They've got 2 running backs, each capable, each probably expected, I would think, at this point, to produce 1,000 yards. And they've even got some wide receivers who come with snarl. That's good, and that's the kind of stuff that would, hypothetically speaking, get your head coach smiling on his way out of the cafeteria when an annoying reporter stops him to chat for a little while. When we come back, J1Q. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George. LGKG is a personal injury law firm in Western Pennsylvania that represents people hurt in car accidents or who need help with workers' comp or medical malpractice. When the attorneys at LGKG make you a promise, they keep it. They've been keeping promises in our region for over 80 years. LGKG's been AV rated, the highest rating a law firm can receive, and they've been designated super lawyers. That's actually a thing for over 15 years. It's a rare combination. LGKG has offices in Cranberry, Newcastle, Beaver Falls, Butler, and Elwood City. Learn more about them by visiting lgkg.com or by calling 888-842-5454. LGKG. Today's J1Q comes from Matt in Tennessee, who says, "Hello, DK. I really enjoy your stuff." I appreciate that, Matt. He continues, "I wanted to ask you one question after listening to your Thursday Daily Shot about Arthur Smith being so involved in the offense as opposed to how Matt Canada was. Isn't the Canada fiasco ultimately an indictment of Mike Tomlin? And we're talking here about a tenured Super Bowl winning, pretty successful coach who'd been in the NFL since 1999 and has worked with 5 offensive coordinators in his tenure as head coach, 2 of which I think most people would classify as at least above average, and yet he seemingly turned a blind eye for 3 years to how Canada conducted business. How did Tomlin let that happen?" Before I answer, Matt, I'm going to give a shout out to, pretty much everyone else for asking exactly this. So I'm going to have to think here that I didn't do a good enough job bringing that up myself on the show yesterday. Here's what I have. But to first reiterate what I did say about this, Tomlin very much liked the idea that he felt Canada was tough and that he was in charge and that he wasn't going to take any crap from anybody. Tomlin liked that, I believe, without obviously being able to know such a thing, because he prefers to be with his defense. He prefers to be the de facto coordinator. I don't think it's much of a secret that he's that now with Terrell Austin. It definitely wasn't a secret that he was that with Keith Butler. And it eventually came out that he did a lot of that with Dick LeBeau. He wants to run the defense. And as such, he wants to put as much time into it, as much energy into it as he can. And if he's worrying about the other side of the football excessively, then that's obviously an issue in his mind. I'm not excusing him here. Understand that. You didn't ask me for excuses. You asked me to explain it. That's what I'm trying to do. There's a difference. My view on this specific subject is that Tomlin took far, far, far too long to recognize the negative impact that Canada, his lousy playbook, his lousy play calling, and his lousy communication had on his players in his locker room. And there's nowhere to run or hide from that in the head coach position. That buck stops only with him. There's no one between the coordinators and him, and there's no one over him who should have to be responsible for that sort of thing. That is a field-level problem. And that is purely the domain of someone in Tomlin's position. So what I do have to say about it is that he blew it. He blew it. Ideally, he'll learn from it. Or no, heck, ideally, he'd already have learned from it by bringing in someone who was just a head coach for 3 years in the NFL, who he knows, I'm not talking about Arthur Smith, of course, can take care of a football team, can take care of them from the disciplinary standpoint, the accountability standpoint, all that stuff you heard Najee Harris complaining about. All those were direct shots at Canada. And if Smith does all of that, in addition to being, okay at actual playbook and play calling stuff, then Tomlin gets to do what he wants. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody who listens to Daily Shot of Steelers. We're going to have another one of these on Monday, heading into the third and final week of OTA sessions. Oh, and by the way, thanks for listening. When I say that, I don't just do it because it's written in front of me or something. I'm fully aware that you're the only reason the program exists, so thank you.